Well, today is Festivus, and that can only mean one thing. It's time for airing of our grievances, and Senator Rand Paul making Frank Costanza proud today, taking to Twitter to air his own grievances. There's one of them. The recent bipartisan deal will add $7 trillion more debt and was hailed as an example of Washington getting something done. And another one, he said, in Washington, bipartisan deal is a synonym for increasing our debt. Is he right? Hadley, Heath surely thinks so, but David Mercer disagrees. Hadley, let me start with you. I tend to agree with a lot of these things that the senator is expressing his grievances regarding.
Right. Fiscal conservatives like Rand Paul, it's understandable why he'd be disappointed in this deal that really makes losers out of taxpayers and other Americans who'll face our national debt. But Republicans were burned by the last budget battle when the government shut down and they took a big hit in the polls. So it's understandable also that this may be the best deal they could get.
David, there are so many grievances. I'm surprised Rand Paul stopped at the ones he did. Your thoughts? I mean, the debt continues to skyrocket out of control. Things aren't getting any better in your town there.
Our deficits are reducing and at a faster rate than has been seen in decades. And in fact, this budget deal reduces it by $20 to $30 billion. I think when we're approaching 4.1% GDP growth in the third quarter, Eric,
right,
that you don't want to put the brakes on.
You and I go way back, David, but I will tell you that when you say our deficits are reducing at the fastest rate in decades, they're reducing from President Obama's massive increase in deficits that were under his control. So if you increase the deficit and then you shrink it, but it's still substantially higher than the Bush deficits or any other ones.
They're being reduced at a faster rate, and at the same time, this deal reduces the deficit without putting additional brakes on the economy that we're now seeing move into a 4.1 growth in GDP, which helps all Americans.
All right, Hadley, go ahead, take that one, because if I'm a retailer and I say that sweater right there, I'm going to mark it up 200%, but guess what? Next week it's going to be 20% off. I'm still making a lot more money.
Right, and David makes a good point that when Bush was in office, we were running deficits too high, but two wrongs don't make a right. Just because George Bush spent a lot of money doesn't mean that President Obama spending more than we take in is the right thing to do. In fact, President Obama said about the debt ceiling before he was president that it would be unpatriotic to continue to raise the debt ceiling. So it's a changed position that the president's in now that he has to lead the country.
Right.
And bipartisanship doesn't always mean
hold
the right
on, guys.
thing for the
It's Festivus. Let's have a little fun with this. Can we take a look at some of the other fun grievances that Rand Paul offered? He said, my dad auctioned off this car instead of giving it to me. We have a picture there. It is. Grievance with he said, with his otherwise wonderful staff, who I know, some of them personally, leave the turtleneck alone. I like it, and so did the viewers. By the way, that one right there from Cash It In. I love the senator. I'm not sure I like the turtleneck. Hadley?
Oh no, I don't have anything to say about the turtleneck. Let me put it that way.
That's it. David
My
Mercer,
mother said if you can't say anything nice.
Are you pro or con turtleneck for Senator Rand Paul?
I'm going to take a pass on that with Hadley and stick to the issues and the substance of it. And if I might say, with regard to what Hadley mentioned earlier, we're working, and the president is working to reduce the deficits and at the same time to increase employment, which has come down from the Bush levels, and we've also, just to
David,
make a point.
I disagree. Well, look, President Obama is the architect, along with several other leaders of Congress, of Obamacare. And one reason Republicans don't want to have another shutdown or another budget battle at this point is because they would rather the public's attention be focused on the failure that is Obamacare.
Right,
so
we're going to have to leave it there, you guys.
Obamacare,
we're going to have to leave it there.
Budget office
we're going to say Happy Festivus and Merry Christmas to everyone for tomorrow.